and welcome to the very first October Nostalgic Friday. Now last year the theme I did was Danny Phantom. Right, I got him on right now. So since I already did that, I decided, what should I do this year? Well, do you guys remember, the month during my very last September Nostalgic Friday, I talked about Scooby-Doo? Well, remember when I sent that video, I may do that as next year after I do Danny Phantom? Well, you're in luck, because now I'm doing it. That's right, because all month long, we're going to be talking about nothing but Scooby-Doo. And I mean, come on, kind of like Danny Phantom, it's pretty Halloween-y itself. I mean, it's got monsters, ghosts, and mysteries. So, kicking off this October, Halloween Nostalgic Friday, we are kicking it off with the Scooby-Doo series from my generation. And what do I mean when I say my generation? Well, you'll find out for yourselves. Now, to those of you wondering what Scooby-Doo series am I talking about, that is in fact for my generation. Well, here's a little fact you should know about me. I was born in the year 2000, which makes me an early 2000s baby. So, of course, I've grown up with plenty of cartoons from the early 2000s, and maybe some from the 90s, even though maybe some of those shows may have ended by that point, or some were, of course, getting close to their ends by that point, or some were still going at that point. Like Rugrats, for example, that was still going on at the time. Until it ended in 2004, sadly. And also, not to mention my favorite, cartoon happens to be from the early 2000s. Yeah, along with a few others. And maybe a few 90s shows like SpongeBob. I mean, that came out in 1999, so, yeah. But the Scooby-Doo series I want to talk about is something I'm sure you all remember and probably have fond memories of yourselves. This is What's New, Scooby-Doo. Now, I don't exactly remember if I ever caught, the show, when it was originally airing. Maybe I did, but here's the thing you should know. The show came out in 2002, and by that age, I would have been like 1 or 2 years old, like still a baby around that point. So yeah, but I think I did at one point after, I guess, they kept having it go on, I think. And also, I also remember in 2010s, the Cartoon Network would constantly rerun it at times. Because I tell ya, it was a pretty good show. I mean, why on earth would people want to, rerun stuff? I mean, in fact, do you guys remember when Cartoon Network used to rerun their old stuff, daily, like on weekends and stuff? I remember. Those were the days. Now, a few things I actually want to talk about the show is the animation. Now, I think the animation is quite good. I mean, really. Like, downright good. I mean, it has like a little modern, day twist to it. I mean, then again, the show does take place, has the game in the 21st century. I mean, because there's a lot of things, like there's technology, you got phones, computers, and Fred and Daphne have completely, gotten rid of their old designs. They're wearing, some different modern day clothing, which I don't mind. I mean, then again, they go back to it in later versions, so, but hey. Now, another cool thing about the show is that there's a few Easter eggs from some past Scooby-Doo stuff. Like, for instance, did you know in one episode there's actually a scene that's actually a flashback to when the gang were kids, and the kid versions of themselves also happen to be the designs from the show A Pup Named Scooby-Doo? Yeah, for reals. Really. And in another episode which was about the, I guess, mystery machine being possessed or something. In the very first scene in that episode, when Scooby and Shaggy are walking home, like from the movies, if I remember correctly, Shaggy says a line kind of similar to his very first line, in Where Are You? Like, I actually kind of remember that, because I remember once actually stumbling upon a clip of the very first episode on Instagram, and kind of remembering that line later on, and then watching What's New again and seeing, hey, wait a second, that's not exactly similar to what he said in Where Are You? So yeah, some very good nods and Easter eggs to, like, you know, to the old stuff they did back in the day. And also, who could forget, you know, the movies that were tied to this series? Like, do you guys remember, like, maybe having some of these movies? Maybe you had some of them on DVD, or you remember Cartoon Network playing them, you know, sometimes in the afternoons. I do. I mean, really. I even remember they oftentimes had Scooby marathons on some different occasions. Even, you know, way before, you know, when we got, you know, the characters in their classic designs this time. But hey, I mean, those were the days again. I mean, then don't get me wrong though, the today's direct-to-video movies with them in the, I guess, other designs are pretty cool, I must say. But yeah, I mean, really, like, seriously. Now, one last thing I actually want to talk about is, do you guys remember when they did a Valentine's Day special and a Halloween special? Now, the Valentine's Day special, I only saw that once, I only saw that once when it aired, you know, around Valentine's Day. Like, in fact, how I ended up watching it was that it was just a random Saturday morning. I get up and, you know, I have the TV on and, you know, I'm just watching the classic, you know, stuff. And then this special comes up. I'm like, hey, I've never seen this before. I should check it out. And yeah, I managed to watch it again, you know, when I found the show on Netflix. Yeah, it's on Netflix if any of you want to check it out for yourselves, like, you know, relive on some nostalgia. But yeah, oh, and here's a little funny thing I didn't actually realize the first time I watched it until someone pointed out on social media. Well, a lot of people did. Did you guys know that the people who unmask them at the end are actually their voice actors? Like, really? Like, I had no idea until like a year later. Like, oh, wow. You know what? Yeah, that person does look like, they do look like them. I'm like, really? Oh, and at the end, Daphne actually makes a joke saying, was Sarah Michelle Gellar too busy? Get it? Because Sarah Michelle Gellar played her in the live action movies. Like, like, really. But the Halloween special is the one I kind of love the most, because I remember every year Cartoon Network would play that special every year on around Halloween, and I tell you, it was the best thing ever. Like, oh, like, it didn't even have the intro. It just went straight into the episode immediately. I'm like, cool. Like, I mean, really, like, probably the best episode ever from this show, and probably my favorite one. Oh, and fun fact, that episode was my second introduction to Kiss. If you want to know what the first one was, it was the Fairly Odd Parents, you know, Wishology, you know, 3-part special. If you guys remember that. Yeah, pretty much. Oh, and yeah, if you didn't know, that movie they did back in 2015 where they crossed over with Kiss wasn't the first time. What's New did it first. Just so you know, in case you didn't already know. Because I swear, when I saw a review on that movie, I'm like, this is not the first time that's happened. I remember they did a Halloween special, and Kiss was there. It was them. And look, but luckily I managed to find someone in the comments section who remembered that. Thank God I'm not alone. Also, please tell me you remember that too. Please. Yeah. So I think that's all I got to say about, you know, the show in general. And I will say, it's a really great episode. Like, got some great mysteries and some great characters and a lot of great moments. But, so yeah. So, if you haven't seen it yourself, I highly recommend it. Go watch it on Netflix, which is on there. And all that. So, yeah. So, I'm pretty sure that's all I got to say. So, be sure to check out next week as we dive into more Scooby-tastic, shows and maybe a few movies here and there. So anyways, see you guys next time. Take care.